Then we head over to the Bundesliga, where obviously we have a really big story to discuss first, but there's also an interesting dynamic to the top four conversation I want to get to. So, starting in the title race, of course, this is the storyline because Bayern Munich are actually being challenged because Bayern Munich actually aren't winning the league right now because Bayern Munich just sacked Julian Nagelsmann and brought in Thomas Tuchel. You can go check my weekend recap video for my thoughts on that. I'm not going to regurgitate all of that here. So Dortmund have this 1 point lead heading into Der Klassiker. I've been saying this all season long. Bayern are vulnerable. They've done their part to make this a race somebody else can win. Dortmund, with that phenomenal run they had, kind of got themselves back in a position to capitalize. The third part of that had to be playing from ahead. I will never buy teams' chances when you are trying to chase a Bayern or a PSG or some kind of clear favorite in Manchester City. Hanging around isn't good enough. At some point, you have to surge ahead and make them earn more points than you. Because you're probably going to drop some at some point. And Dortmund had that draw with Schalke, but they responded. And they got the point. And then Bayern lost. And so here you go. Now, you might be able to win this thing with a draw in this game. Which was something before that last set of results I didn't think was possible. And obviously, if you win it, you're 4 points clear and in the driver's seat. And even if you lose, you still, if Bayern lose one game and you win that week, you make up all 3 points again. And you're back ahead. I do feel there's one more twist in this. Whether that's Dortmund getting a draw here and then dropping points and Bayern coming back to win, or Dortmund losing this game and then Bayern dropping points where they shouldn't and Dortmund surging back to win. I feel like there's going to be kind of two final acts. One will be Der Klassiker and one will be the final twist, the last time the lead changes hands. We'll see if I'm right on that. That's just kind of my gut feeling based on very little actual evidence or logic. And then we got the battle for top four. Union Berlin obviously had a great season. Freiburg have had a great season. Leipzig have kind of had a strange season. Were awful and then really good and now just kind of back to being okay. Those are your three teams pretty much battling for those final two Champions League spots. Right now, Leipzig are at the bottom of that list, which is interesting in and of itself, because that's a team that expects to make Champions League every single season, as they should. But even if Leipzig end up in one of those top four spots, Union Berlin or Freiburg are most likely going to be playing Champions League next season. And both of them got, European competition this season. But these are two teams that we don't expect to be in the Champions League. And the point I want to make with this is that it's a commentary on the struggles some of the other traditional teams have had in the Bundesliga this season. You look at Bayer Leverkusen now, they've really started to turn things around. But what Bayer Leverkusen have gone through, Borussia Mönchengladbach have been a non-factor, right? These teams that usually end up as that fourth team that get into the Champions League. They've just been nowhere to be found. It's been Union Berlin trying to get into the title race and hanging around most of the season. It's been Freiburg just being consistently really good for the most part. It's been Leipzig going up and down and looking at times like at least the third best team in the league, and other times not so much. But that's one of the fascinating parts of how this season has unfolded. It's not just the title race, but it's also what's happening underneath that. And we're going to see that continue to play out in this battle for the top four. And then, of course, relegation. I'm not going to dive too deep into these relegation battles, but we're talking about probably Hoffenheim, Hertha Berlin, Schalke, Stuttgart as your teams trying to keep themselves in the Bundesliga for next season. you've got kind of different situations there. You've got a Schalke team trying to reestablish itself. You got some teams that have kind of been up and down and sort of trending toward this happening. You've got a team that's been much better than this for the most part and isn't usually, you've got a little bit of everything here. So we will see how that plays out.